going to ramble about a cluster of ideas. I had all these ideas for things that I want to talk about, and then in classic vlogging style, I am deciding to talk about something else, totally off the cuff, and I think it's interesting, so we'll see where it goes. This is about like losing the plot. So, and also about like, I don't know, intrinsic motivation and agency and developing your taste. And there's like a cluster here that I'm going to speak to and just see if it's interesting to anyone. But something that sometimes happens is I feel like people will lose the plot. For example, I have this one like dating app that I made, and then my friend, like some people were like, oh, like I'm using Hinge, this other dating app, and like they look at me like guiltily and they're like, oh shoot, like sorry, I'm not using your app. And I'm kind of like, that's fine, like find love, you know, like find what you're looking for, because if you're getting all hung up on like which dating app you're using, you're already losing the plot. Look, there's flowers. Fake, I think they're fake flowers, but a nice touch. And similarly, I feel like people will lose the plot all the time in their careers, where they're like get stuck climbing a ladder. Like they're like doing their job, and as with anything in life, like I think someone tweeted recently, part of the grief of ending a relationship is the loss of all the compound growth that was happening, and I really resonate with that. But like, this is what happens where it's like a sunk cost fallacy, right? Like you've been in this job, maybe you got promoted, and now you're like, oh, now I have to stay on this path because I've already invested so much time and, you know, time into this, time and energy. But like, it's very important to be calibrated in terms of like what you value and what you want to be doing with your one wild and precious life. Look, a ladder. Or not a ladder, sorry, a mirror. But yeah, like, so what, like, that's so funny, what a Freudian slip. I was talking about ladders. But like, yeah, like you find yourself on one kind of ladder, but in my mind, your career is sort of like all of these, you're like, imagine you're like on this, you're walking across this landscape, but the ground is actually made of all of these ladders that are going in certain directions, and they're not all parallel, and they crisscross, and they're all moving at their own pace. And you usually like pick a ladder and you jump onto it, and you're like going up this ladder, but at some point you realize that this ladder is going the wrong direction, and you need to jump ladders. Like you need to do a little quick hop to the side at the next ladder that comes like close to you, because you're trying to have a fulfilling life, and one that you look back on when you're old and feel like was meaningful. So yeah, I think like people also lose the plot in ways of like they'll get stuck on their reputation, or like things that they think other people will care about, and then they will basically, I'm gonna walk away from this busy street because it's loud. They will basically just get stuck on this. I feel like another example I think of is like, for some reason it's like middle-aged moms. It's like mothers get stuck on like comparing utensils or like kid strollers, like who has the fancy stroller and like who has like the nice set of silverware. And it just feels to me like, I get it because I'm also like a designer, right? So it's like the aesthetics and blah blah blah, but like at some point you're like, dude, no, like you are going too far down this, like you've latched on to something that ultimately is not like the thing that matters. And yeah, similarly, I think like sometimes climbers, there's like people I meet who are like into climbing not for the core thing, which is like rock climbing, but like because they think climbers look cool. And maybe it's just because I'm like so like intrinsically motivated and driven by like my own desires, but like the idea of climbing like my whole life because I think that it'll make me look cool is like, to me, feels very much like they are going to be yanked around by the like some kind of idea of others and what these others think, and so it's just like a fundamentally less stable way to decide how you will engage in your whole life. And in the end, you're gonna die, you know, like you're gonna die and you're gonna be like, oh man, like I actually really wanted to do baseball, and like it's like, but I thought it would be cooler to climb. Like it just feels so like I would laugh, maybe I would laugh if I were in that position when I was dying. Let's see, I also was getting into more of this like intrinsic motivation thing. I think it's fine to be like more like socially prompted versus like self-prompted, but like if you know that you're more socially prompted, like you can work with that too. Like you can put yourself in environments where you will get to work with the energy of other people to get you to do things, even if you like don't have a strong sense of what you're into. You can basically explore a lot and build a sense of your own taste. You can like latch on to a bunch of different friend groups and be like, what are they doing, and like you do start to get like, it's kind of like a muscle, but you can just start to get a sense of, this is more interesting, I feel sparkier, I feel happier when I do this thing versus another. And then you can like collect them together, and then once you start doing that process and aggregating all of these things that you find interesting, then like it starts to reveal itself to you, and that can be like a really powerful practice. Let's see, did I have anything else on this topic? I feel like this kind of ties into the whole like meditation on death and just realizing like, what might you regret, what do you want to accomplish with your life. It also ties into like the importance of compounding effects. Like, yes, it sucks to jump a ladder because you lose all that compound like growth, but also given that your time compounds and everything gains momentum in a certain direction, like best to just be on the right direction, like jump as soon as possible once you kind of get that sense of, oh, this isn't working out, which really sucks, especially in like a relationship type context. But yeah, like better to jump than basically stay on the wrong path or wrong direction. Yeah, I think that actually applies better for like career stuff, because relationship stuff is like always a question of like, maybe we can fix it, and that is just a whole world. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it for today. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. I will try to do these more often, and have a nice Friday.